Chair.
other congressman who yielded, no? To
Yes, Madam
okay,
Chair.
go
I was
ahead.
informed that I was given additional minutes by 3 of my colleagues.
Yes, just be careful with your heart.
So,
Baka mamaya wag
yes,
kang
ma'am. My heart is
stress.
as strong as a stone.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Thank you. Earlier, Madam Chair, I was asking for the number of SLMs already produced by Deped. Do you have numbers? That was 3 hours ago.
Yeah, it has can you please rephrase or repeat your earlier
Because they're
question?
supposed to deliver these modalities and strategies, Madam Chair. I was informed that one of these strategies is the modular system, which is the SLMs. They call it self-learning materials. So considering that there are 22 million public school enrollees today from K to 12, I was only asking earlier, but that was 3 or 4 hours ago, how many SLMs or modules have they produced so far, Madam Chair? So do they have the numbers now?
Go ahead, Yusek Ann.
Yeah, Madam Chair, Your Honor, the production of self-learning materials is by region, by division, and by school. So if we can request our USEC for curriculum and instruction and the USEC for in charge for planning, because they are the ones who have the numbers and the monitoring for such, Madam Chair.
Are we made to understand, Madam Chair, that you don't have the numbers and you still have to ask for the regions to supply you? Why so? It should be a concerted effort. This is supposed to be the central office. I believe the central office initiated the production of this, and the others will be produced by the regions, the divisions, and the schools. What about at your end? What did you do?
Can we have Yusek San Antonio? Yusek San Antonio.
Madam Chair, if I rely on
Yes.
your section, Antonio, I think he said earlier that there is something like 59%. Was that his, I don't know if that is the correct estimate that he say. Sabi niya, Madam Chair, 59% na na-produce. Meaning to say, kalahati ng 22 million na-produce na. So, am I supposed to assume that about 10 million SLMs have been produced already based on the representation of USEC San Antonio? Importante po kasi ito, Madam Chair, because October 5 na po ito. If Deped cannot even guarantee a ratio of 1-to-1, kasi sabi nila kanina, well, by far probably 2 students or 2 enrollees will probably share 1 module. Even on that basis, Madam Chair, I think I have gained my right to know. The ibig sabihin yan, kahit kalahati nga lang eh. Kahit na 5 million lang, kung 2, halimbawa, ratio is 2-to-1. Kasi sabi niya, 59% lang ang na-produce. Pero totoo ba yun? You have to be very candid with us. Totoo ba o hindi? Because in the ground, Madam Chair, in Tarlac more particularly, nakakaawa yung mga teachers. Kasi po kami ang nandun eh. May nahinga po ng laptop, ng computer, ng risograph, ng photocopying, ng tinta, ng papel. And so, if this is the kind of approach, kasi sinabi nyo dito sa inyo, napakaganda eh. O, babasahin ko na po sa inyo. Major adjustments are being made at the central and field levels to enable Deped to deliver distance learning at a magnitude never done before. Eh, magaling lang naman kayo sa paggawa ng ganito eh. Never done before. I'm assuming, Madam Chair, that they started in a very fantastic fashion. Totoo yun, COVID-19. But per your admission here, it was not only COVID-19 that triggered you to streamline the competencies. Ang sabi rito, even 2 years ago at the prodding of the very Secretary of the Department of Education, 2 years ago, sinabihan na kayo to streamline the competencies. That is why, ang akala ko preparado tayo. Pero yung unang tanong ko lang, Madam Chair, nobody is daring to answer. How do you know that by streamlining the competencies by 60%, ang natira na lang is 40%? How do you know that the quality of education is still there? Pagkatapos wala pa yung modules. Can you imagine, Madam Chair, what kind of quality of education do we expect now sa ating mga kabataan? Binaba na nga nila yung sabi nila, this is the most, tawag nila MELCs. Most essential learning competencies, or MELCs. From 100%, it went down to only 40%. Sinong gumawa nun? Is it Deped? You have a partner by the name of Assessment, Curriculum, and Technology Research Center. What is this center, Madam?
Okay, Yusek San Antonio.
Yes po.
Go
There are
ahead.
several questions. So yung quick answer po sa Assessment, Curriculum, and Research and Technology Center is a center based at UP Diliman. I guess it's funded by the Australian government that has been providing technical support to our teams in the review of the curriculum. The first phase of the curriculum review has been completed. This was the review of the intended curriculum. As mentioned po by Congressman Marcoleta, the process of reviewing the curriculum was already taking place prior to COVID. And
Can we
what
start
helped
with the
us
number?
identify
Can we start with the numbers of the modules?
competencies, the most essential learning competencies.
I want you
is
to
the
start-
initial output of
Excuse me.
Excuse me.
the study po.
I want you to start supplying us the numbers of the modules that you have so far produced.
As mentioned po earlier, it's 59%. Our target for
Where are
printed
these?
self-learning modules is
Where are these 59%
59%
modules?
of the enrollment.
Teka muna,
So,
teka
it's
muna, teka muna.
59% of the enrollment.
Nasaan yung mga 59% na modules na na-produce na ninyo? Where are these? I want to find out.
I will be mentioning po the divisions that have reported to be on time in their process of reproducing the modules. I'll just retrieve my file.
Baka magkamali ka,
Your Honor.
Yusek. Interlock, for example, I will tell you, napaka-ingenious ng mga tao doon. Did you know that they did not even wait for your modules? Gumawa sila ng sarili nilang learning materials. They call it Project Simple. Meron silang mga ginawang indigenous na mga materials. At pagkatapos, sinuportahan sila ng LGUs. Madam Chair, I want to report to you that in Tarlac, there are two divisions, the Tarlac City Division and the Tarlac Provincial Divisions. Nakumpleto nila ito with only 20 million pesos. Okay? Na-identify nila yung sector that are connected. Meron silang IT, may laptop, and so marami silang pinagkuhanan na tao, including us. So yung 80% na lang ang susuplayan nila ng modular materials. They were identified that. So marami na. Kaya yung dinownload din nyo na 79 million, pinag-iisipan pa nila kung gagawa pa sila nung modules ninyo. Kasi magkakadoble-doble na ang gagawin nila. So this is how erratic and I think chaotic the start of Deped. So paano sasabihin mo, Yusek, na kayo ang ikaw ang tagapangulo ng curriculum sector ng Deped? Bakit de-delegate niyo sa isang grupo sa UP ang paggawa ng curriculum? You cannot delegate something that was already delegated to you. That is your primary function. Paano natin nalaman na yung 40% na streamlining ng competencies, yun ang correct na volume na dapat lamang napag-aralan ng bata ngayon during COVID? Paano natin ma-justify yun?
Madam Chair, let me reiterate that it was not entrusted to the RC. They just provided technical support. The effort in reviewing the curriculum was undertaken by the Bureau of Curriculum Development, and we utilized certain criteria. The most important criterion used in determining which learning competencies would be retained is endurance. When we talk about endurance, these are the competencies, skills, knowledge that a child needs for him or for her to be able to acquire, to be ready to learn more in terms of the challenges of learning the things that are supposed to be learned in the next grade. So we had some considerations in doing this. The reason why the most essential learning competencies has been reduced is there were those that were merged. There were those that were deleted because they were repetitious. There were those that were also added. And again, just to point out, Madam Chair, that the effort was not given to anyone else. We just enjoyed the technical support of an agency that is supposed to provide help to us. I think, Madam Chair, it's okay for the Department of Education to utilize the expertise of people around us. We don't claim to be the experts. We always interact with the stakeholders and we recognize their support. In certain aspects of the things we do, we also collaborate with PNU, we collaborate with other universities, we listen to them because we don't really claim that we are the only ones who know. But I feel that when we say we want to work with 40% of the competencies, we did not abandon the things that were very important. We just decided to pay attention to the most important foundational competencies which we feel the learners should possess.
Nakalagay ba sa budget ninyo itong participation ng group na ito? I didn't see it in the budget of 2020. How is this group compensated?
Madam Chair, I'm not in the know. I think they are not paid.
You're supposed to be in the know kasi
as I
ikaw ang
was saying,
curriculum
the
eh.
understanding is they are supported by funds from the Australian government.
Can you imagine,
So it's a kind of
curriculum ang
support to
pinag-uusapan, Madam
education.
Chair, and the USEC is not in the know. How can you justify that? Tinatanong ko lang, saan nyo kinuha ang budget to for example, get the assistance of this group?
Madam Chair, I think I said that my understanding is Deped does not pay them. But the other members of the EXICOM can check me
Is it
because
true,
or my directors can check
anybody
me if
from
I'm correct.
present? Is it true na hindi nyo binayaran yung ACTRC?
Yusek Ana?
I think, Madam Chair, Director Joyce can be requested to provide the information. The Director of the Bureau of Curriculum Development.
Okay. Director Joy, you are recognized.
Madam Chair, good afternoon. This is Director Joy, the Director of the Bureau of Curriculum Development. Our partnership with ACT-RC goes back sometime during the making of the development of the K-12 curriculum.
The only question, Madam, is where is the
an
budget?
agency, is an organization that
I am not asking you to
was
describe
selected
this
by
organization, Madam.
of the
Please.
Australian government.
You have to be very considerate. My question is, was this group ever budgeted? Because we didn't see any budget, coming from any group assisting Deped in the formulation of the curriculum. Saan po nakukuha yung budget nito?
I think from the, Mr. Chair, I think from the grant of the DFAT, not from Deped.
What is that, Madam Chair?
Can you please repeat that, Director Joy?
Sorry, Madam Chair, it's from the Australian government.
Oh, so it's a grant.
It's a grant, yes.
It's an aid from the Australian government. Okay, go ahead.
You have to be very careful in your statements because if I can produce the documents telling otherwise, baka magkaroon ka ng problema. Huwag kayong masyadong mabilis magsalita. Okay. Yung budget ninyo for modular, magkano, Madam? For first quarter and second quarter, what is your budget?
In 2020 JA, there's no budget, Your Honor, but we requested the Department of Budget and Management for the realignment of our existing
How much?
programs for 10.9 billion, 500 million of which we reserve for
Okay
the
na yan.
minimum health standard.
So, it's 11 billion.
More or less, no, Your Honor, 9 billion for the learning resources.
Ha?
9 billion for learning resources.
For learning resources. Okay. So, considering na ang nagagawa pa lang is 59%, even assuming that that is correct, napakarami pa nang hindi na po-produce. At October 5, magsisimula na ang ano. Nagkakagulo na sa baba. Kasi kung hindi namin sila tutulungan, hindi sila makakapag-umpisa. This is how you will describe the starting point of Deped sa panahong ito. Pagkatapos, let's go about integrating the competencies, the most essential learning competencies. Ilan ba yung competencies na ilalagay nyo sa isang module? Okay,
Madam
40% na lang. Pwede ba dito na lang para madali tayo? Kasi masyadong marami sinasabi yun, hindi ko maintindihan ang paliwanag niya.
Cong Marcoleta, they have their people assigned. So pwede si let's recognize again USEC San Antonio.
On condition, madam, that he should only answer the question.
Thank you.
No more, no less.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Let me just reiterate that when I said 59%, it's the target learners that will receive SLMs. When it comes to the status of the preparation relative to the reproduction of SLMs, our tracking indicates that as of today, 77.57% or 166 out of 214 schools division offices have reported to be on track. When we say on track, they are more than halfway in terms of reproducing their self-learning modules. And 48 out of 214 schools division offices are still we consider them progressing. They are not yet halfway in the reproduction. Let me also inform the Madam Chair that NCR is now proceeding with the distribution of the self-learning materials, printed self-learning materials for the learners in NCR. There are also regions that have also been able to report that they are like on track 100% in all their divisions, like Caraga, Region 2, Region 4A, Region 4B, Region 9, and Region 12. This is according to the reports submitted to us by the regional offices.
Madam Chair, I have a problem with the way this USEC is answering. It's too long and it is not even responsive. I am only asking how much is the budget for the SLMs? Bakit hindi ka ba sumagot kung ano lamang ang tinatanong sa'yo? Because I really wanted to know if this is the kind of, if this is how the way you produce the materials. Can you imagine, merong nagre-risograph, merong nagpo-photocopy, there is no definite, there is no standard way on how you're supposed to produce this, on how you bind this. Paano nyo i-bind ba ito? Ilang ba ang ilang bang competencies per student from K to 12? How do you intend to do this? Ang dami mo kasing kinukwento eh. But we are confused kung paano kayo mag-start. For example, ayaw nyong gumawa ng libro. Gusto nyo modules. Okay, nasa sa inyo na yan kung gusto nyo gawin nyo. Yung K, yung let's say K, ilang competencies ba 'yon?
Let me
Go ahead.
San Antonio, yung kindergarten, first quarter, ilang modules ba 'yon?
Sorry, Madam Chair, I've not memorized all the numbers. I'm not very good in memorizing numbers. But my ASEC can help me provide
Alam mo,
the exact numbers
kindergarten,
requested by
10 ang modules.
Marcoleta.
And the total pages, 258. Madam Chair, alam mo ang problema nila? Kasi ayaw nilang gumawa ng libro. Kasi sinabi namin, you forgot the publishing industry. Noong pa, 2 budgets ago, sinabi ko na sa kanila, mali ang ginagawa ninyo because under 8047, NBDB should be the one guiding the private sector publishers to produce all books. Hindi na kayo. Wala na kayong authority gumawa ng libro. So what they decided, okay, gumawa ng ibang kaparaanan, hindi na raw libro to, Madam Chair. These are modules already. Because a textbook under the UNESCO standard should have at least 48 pages. So yung modules nila is 30 pages. Okay? Pero kapag pinagsama-sama mo, for example, yung kindergarten, 10 modules, 258 pages to. It's more than a textbook. Hindi gumagawa din kayo ng libro. Bakit ganito? Bakit ganito nangyari? There is no more guidance, Madam Chair. Their budget is 9 billion. Let's say 9 billion for the first and second quarter. Paano nyo pinroduce? May standard ba kayong printing? Yung bang papel pare-pareho? Hindi po. Sa Tarlac po ang sinasabi ko sa iba-ibang klaseng papel ang ginamit. Pati ang pagbabound. Ngayon, kung gagamitin po yan ng estudyante, for how long that this student or pupil or learner will be able to take advantage of this one module nang hindi niya masisira, like a book. Tapos magpapalitan sila because there are 2 students that will share one module. Eh kung hindi naman kasing photographic memory ni Congressman Ted Daresco yung bata, paano ibibigay mo sa kanya? Hindi niya na maintindihan niya ganun. It should be a ready reference for you. Ibig ba niyo sabihin wala na libro, Madam? This is a simple question. Wala na libro ngayon na gagamitin? Only modules? No more books?
Madam Chair.
Yes, go ahead. Yusek.
I think it was very clear earlier that we mentioned that textbooks will still be used as supplement to the learning materials or resources that we have prepared.
So
Let me also reiterate what I have mentioned earlier, that the most ideal learning resource for distance learning delivery modality, as far as we educators know, is the use of self-learning modules because it provides all the instruction. It allows the learners to actually interact with the materials, especially if they are capable of doing independent learning.
Can I cut you?
Yes, we will be still using the books, especially if the kids will be doing TV-based instruction or radio-based instruction, or even online, they can still refer to the books. We have mapped them against our most essential learning competencies.
Sinasabihan na nga. Ang tinatanong ko lang sa iyo, Yusek San Antonio, is this. Ang libro ngayon na supplementary pa pala? Itong modules na ang principal, ganun ba? Dati, ang libro, yung essential, yung supplementary materials, dito yung mga modules. Pero ang nangyayari kasi ngayon, ito yung problema natin. Madam Chair, ang gumagawa na ng modules teachers, hindi po nila trabaho yun eh. Ang teacher po magtuturo yan. Yan ang pinaggagawa nila ngayon, no? Pinaggawa nyo ng module. Sila nagpo-photocopy, sila nagbabound ng mga libro. Isip-isipin nyo, para lang mag-prepare na sana sila sa kanilang pagtuturo. Sila pa ang ginawa ninyong okupado sa paggawa nito.
Excuse me, DS Marcoleta, can you please wrap up? Your 12 minutes is about to end.
Madam Chair, let me point out that the development teams for the self-learning modules are primarily our supervisors and master teachers. We understand that in some areas, those teachers who have been found to be competent in contributing their expertise so that we can develop the self-learning modules, we're allowed to take
generalize,
part.
Yusek,
The instruction we gave
San Antonio. Please do not generalize. Do not generalize, please.
Madam Chair, I was sharing the issuance that we have made.
How many?
It's primarily
How
for
much is your
the
budget?
experts,
How much is your
etc.
budget for books this year?
Madam Chair, I think I've been very clear in saying that the most ideal
What
learning
is your
resource
budget for
distance
books
learning
this
is
year?
the use of modules.
Excuse me,
I've not found a
What
place
is
that
your
utilizes-
budget for books this year? That is
excuse
the
me,
question.
yes, DS, maybe Yusek An can be would be the better person
sabi
to
ko nga
answer
dito na lang,
that.
pinipilit kasi
Finance yan eh. So kay under yan kay Yusek Ana.
here,
Yeah.
Madam.
Sa finance po, ang ating textbook and other instructional materials is 963 million for this
Okay.
year.
Next year,
It's the same level,
the
Your
same,
Honor.
okay. But you did not procure any book this year, right? Alam ko eh. I investigated.
Your Honor, I will have to refer to the Undersecretary or ASEC in charge of the procurement on that. Mine is finance.
Wala nga kayong pinrocure eh. Where is the procurement officer here? Did you procure books for this year? So, ito Madam Chair, pinipilit na naman itong USEC na ito na gagamitin daw ang libro. Wala nga silang pinrocure na libro ngayon. Ganito ka-chaotic, walang kaplano-plano. Magaling lang sila doon sa paggagawa ng mga ganitong write-up.
DS, your time is up, but just make your last statement before we move to the next interpolator because we still have the DICT.
Kasi I cannot connect this, Madam Chair. For example, yung sa mga laptop, yung computerization. I started initially earlier, sinasabi ko kay Yusek Pascua, yung iyong circular 620-0030. Ano bang nangyari ba sa yearly nating computerization, yung e-classroom natin, every year, meron tayong procurement ng napakaraming laptop, ng PCs, and so on and so forth. Every year, meron kang budget na 1.5 billion to 5 billion. Meron kang computerization program para sa Deped. Nasaan na yung napakaraming PCs? Thousands of PCs. Bakit hindi ito na-integrate over the years? Hanggang sa gumawa ka pa uli ng circular, okay, sinabi mo rito, this is the specification for the procurement of PCs. Ang iyong circular mandates only 2 brands. Pati yung specification niya, iisa lang ang color. Madam Chair, can you imagine that? Napakamahal nitong it's an average of 5,000 to 6,500 per unit. Hindi siya ordinary. Samantalang meron kayong makukuha between 3,000 to 3,500 and you can supply most schools. So, how did you integrate now the computerization in the department over the years? And you have to procure so many computers with specified brands. Hindi ko maintindihan to. Kung halimbawa, Madam Chair, ito meron siyang nilagay. Ito yung sinasabi mo kanina, 500 pesos for teachers, merong 10 gigabytes bandwidth capacity. Sa estudyante naman, 300 for students, 6 gigabytes capacity. Can you imagine kung magkano ang postpaid and prepaid na may invest mo rito? A municipality like the municipality of Cong Haresco is probably better to improving its own Wi-Fi at masusuplayan niya lahat ng eskwela dito. Siguro with the radius of 5 kilometers away from this. Hindi ganito, Madam Chair. I'm really I am not a technical man pero siguro simpleng system lang ito makikita eh. Pagkatapos meron na naman kayong budget for ito na naman modular 15.2 billion next year. Why are you going to waste this? Sa libro 963 million lang. Ito ginamit na ninyo 9 billion hindi pala nabigyan lahat. Ngayon meron na naman kayong 15 billion. Why don't you go to books? Ayaw ninyo because ayan, private sector publishers. Nasaan yung pinangako ninyo that the National Book Development Board should be reverted to the office of the President? Where are the guys? Nangako sila sa akin 3 years ago. Nagkaroon kami ng Zoom.
Excuse me, DS.
Ano na lang ito.
Po, kasi
Madam,
15 minutes na kayo.
I have to ask for your permission. Kasi nandito si Jose Kumali. I can remember, nag-Zoom kami, I think July. I engaged at least 3 or 4 USEC para lamang ayusin namin yung national book publishing industry. Ang sabi nila, in July, meron ng sulat sa President. Na I discovered, wala kayong sulat eh.
Madam Chair, Madam Chair.
Go ahead, Yusek Umali.
Opo. Tayo po'y humihingi ng paumanhin po dun sa impormasyon na naibigay po natin. Ako po mismo yung nagsabi po noon, Madam Chair, nung meeting na yun, humihingi po kami ng paumanhin kay Cong Dan. At that time, I thought, dahil may ganun po kasing pag-uusap, Madam Chair, naman talaga, na dahil meron pong grupo ng mga publishers.
Yusek Tony, but even before that, 2 years ago, si Yusek Malaluan and Escobedo, you were there. Binidyo natin yon. You promise that you will take actions na i-request natin na yung NBDB will be reverted back to the office of the President. You were there. Pagkatapos, pinangako mo na yung Volume 5, which ngayon is trying to override even 9184, hindi po pwede yung Volume 5. Sabi nyo, aaralin ninyo. Pagkatapos, nangako pa kayo na you will look into yung libro na ni-request ng isang congressman para gamitin. Okay? Na hindi dumaan sa bidding. So, kahit sino palang congressman na medyo malakas sa inyo, pwedeng sumulat, magano ng libro, okay? Papayagan ninyo kahit walang bidding. So ako rin pwede ako sumulat sa inyo, sponsor some kind of books. Pagkatapos, pa-approving ko sa inyo because you have approved the one of that particular colleague. Pero hindi nyo ginawa. Ito yung nangyayari kasi. This is about 3 years ago. Walang nangyayari. Hindi nyo tinutupad ang pinag-uusapan natin. Paano ako maniniwala sa inyo ngayon? Madam Chair. Tapos, pumunta kayo doon sa kanilang central office. Pumunta ako doon eh. Tapos, umikot ako. Nagkunwa ako may hinahanap. Why are there so many high-ace mga vehicles? About 100 units siguro sa estimate ko. Anong ginagawa ng mga high-ace? And some pickups.
Yes, that wraps up yung question ni DS. Okay, rebuttal from the Department of Education.
Madam Chair, Your Honor, first on the issue of vehicles, we have procured passenger vans, one for every division office. This is the first time that Deped procured vehicles for the division offices for use of division office personnel. We have also procured 4x4 pickup vehicles. This is also the first time that Deped purchased 4x4 vehicles for our engineers in the field because they have to visit all the schools in the mountains and in all parts of the country. They need these vehicles. This is the first time, may I repeat that, Madam Chair, this is the first time that Deped procured these vehicles. The vehicles that was found or that were seen by the Honorable Congressman in Deped Central Office were delivered prior to the COVID quarantine, what they call is lockdown. So when the divisions and regional offices will be getting and picking up these vehicles, they will no longer allowed to do so. At this time, we are slowly distributing all these vehicles to the different offices and to the different regions.
Madam Chair?
That's Madam Chair.
Yes, Chairman Eric Yap is recognized.
Gusto ko lang po sabihin na napakaswerte ko po dahil ito po yung unang taon kung saan sila mamimigay ng high-ace van at ng pickup. Isa po ang aking mahal na probinsyang Benguet sa makakatanggap nito at sa katunayan po, sa October 7 ay i-deliver na po namin to at masaya po ako dahil ang mga teachers po namin ay hirap na hirap. Nagpapasalamat po ako sa Deped at finally po, under your leadership, naisipan niyo pong bumili ng pickup at ng high-ace kasi po, kung hindi po, mapipilitan po ako magbibigay sa kanila ng pickup. At dahil po dyan, nakatipid po ako at maraming salamat po. At sana po may mga susunod na blessings pa po na dumating. Kasi kung titingnan niyo po, sa amin po sa Benguet, napaka-rough ng terrain dun. Ang ordinary kotse po doon ay mahihirapan kung hindi po ito 4x4. Sana po si Yusek Pasqua po, wag po magsawa at sana po wag lang po one time big time, kung hindi po 10 times big times po. Salamat po, Madam Chair.
Thank
Nakakaingit
you
po,
for that
nakakaingit po si
observation. Tsaka,
Chairman Yap, Madam
Ano po
Chair.
bang school ang sa inyo?
Sa Tarlac po, wala kahit ano.
Baka
Madam
meron
Chair.
na po. Sa tingin ko meron po.
Meron pong tinitingnan ng mga ito eh. Kaya kung hindi ko pa sinabi siguro, ha? Meron po wala pong nakalagay sa Tarlac.
Madam Chair, Your Honor,
Go ahead.
all division offices, all regional
because a
offices,
lot of the legislators are listening right now, and they would also expect their fair share, no? Or
Wala sa
equitable
Zamboanga.
share of these brand new vehicles, especially the 4x4, to reach the farthest barangay. So thank you very much. Let's move on to the minority block. Let me call in Representative Kulyamat for your second round, if you're still around. Representative Kulyamat, are you still there?
Salamat.
Yes. Yes. Just a reminder po, 3 minutes because we need to wrap up. We have been here since early this morning at 8:30.
Madam Chair,
So, salamat. Go ahead.
Mr. Chair, Madam Chair, ang tanong ko lamang dito ay kung ang layunin sa mga na napag-iwanan, yung mga paaralang lumad na tinatayo namin sa aming pagsisikap, bakit hindi kasama sa pagpaunlad bagkus ito ay pinapasira pa, Madam Chair?
Who wish to reply to that? Si Jess, Yusek Jess? Or Asek Bert. Asek Bert.
Madam Chair,
Go ahead, Asek Bert.
this is Undersecretary Malaluan of the Department
sorry.
of Education.
Okay, you
I
go
think
ahead.
even in the last hearing where the Honorable Kudyamat was present, the Secretary already explained that there is a process for recognition of all public schools, and so this have to go through that process to be granted the permit as well as a recognition. So should any schools make application for such, then they will be so evaluated by our regional directors, and this applies to all schools intending to get a permit or recognition. There is no exclusion, nor is there a different classification for all. These guidelines for recognition, Madam Chair, applies equally to all applicants for permit or recognition. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Yes. Do you have any other questions?
Madam Chair,
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
sinasabi po namin dito na ang aming pagtatayo po ng paralan ay sarili naming pagsisikap. Dapat tinutulungan ng Deped at hindi pinapasara. Mr. Chair, Madam Chair, meron na ano na lang ito, manifestation na lang, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, sa aming karanasan, noon ay ang formal at non-formal education ng mga paaralang lumad ay maganda naman ang ugnayan sa Deped nung wala pa ang panghihimasok ng mga military operation. Itong mga ang ilan sa mga paaralang lumad na ito ay nakatanggap po ng mga pagkilala, no? Regional at national, na ito ay ginagawad pa ng Deped, national at regional. Noong 2014, Madam Chair, nang idiniklara ang Whole of Nation Initiative, doon na nagsimula na ang pagpapasara ng mga itinatayo naming mga paaralan. Ang humihingi po ang Deped, no, ng budget para sa IP8 at last mile schools. Pero ang mga nakatayo ng lumang school ay pinapasira naman. Mahabang panahon na po, Madam Chair, na pinagkaitan kami ng edukasyon. Kaya napilitan kaming magtayo sa sariling paaralan. Dapat tulungan kami sa halip na ipasara. Sinabi ng Deped na no one is left behind. Pero hito kami. Nagsusumikap na maitayo ang aming paaralan. At hito kayo. Isang ahensya ng edukasyon na pinagkaitan ang libu-libong katutubong kabataan, sinira at pinasara. At pinahirapan namin, ang pinaghihirapan naming pundasyon. Madam Chair, dati na po kaming marginalized. At sa pagpapasarang ito, ay lalo pa kaming sinisikil at tinutula sa matinding marginalization.
Sorry, we're losing the audio.
Sasabi po namin na kahit ano pa man, ang Deped ay may pananagutan sa pagpapasira ng mga Madam Chair, tayo namin ng aming sariling paaralan ay karapatan na magtatag institusyong nagbibigay ng edukasyon sa aming sariling wika sa pamamaraang naaangkop sa aming kultura ng pagtuturo at pagkatuto. Ito lamang po, Madam Chair, maraming salamat sa pagbibigay ng oras at naiparinig po ang aming hinaing bilang mga katutubo na matagal ng pinagkaitan ng edukasyon. Maraming salamat ulit, Madam Chair.
Yes, thank you then, and well noted, your manifestation is put on record. And I think, Franz, you want to
Just a report, Madam Chair. I just would like to ask a report from the Department of Education. How many lumad schools were closed? Hiniling ko na po ito doon sa mga previous na mga meetings pero hindi pa nila binibigay sa akin.
Yes,
Yung ilan yung mga pinasara nila, ilan yung walang requirements.
May we respond? Madam
Yes.
Chair, with the permission of our Chief of Staff, we already provided that to the House Committee on Basic Education po. So we apologize, Madam Chair, if our good Cong Franz Castro was not yet furnished a copy. But I'm sure Comsec Romel could confirm that, Madam Chair. And as he confirmed to me that he received that.
Yes,
But we
okay.
will furnish a copy to the
Yes,
good Cong
if
Franz.
you can again furnish Honorable Castro a copy directly to her email, maybe you can exchange email ads.
Chair, although I
Madam
asked
Chair.
that to the committee on basic ed, they should have provided me the copy directly.
Yes.
Kasi yun naman yung ano ko ni-request ko.
That would be rectified and you will be sent a copy.
Yes, Madam
Rest
Chair.
assured of that, Honorable Castro. Now we go to the next, last two interpellators from the majority. Let's call in Representative Tyron Agabas. Representative Tyron, are you still around? Last call? Kung wala na, then let's call the last interpolator for the majority, Representative Joy Tambunting.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon,
Go ahead.
Madam Chair.
Yep, Joy.
And
Please proceed with your question.
good afternoon, my esteemed colleagues. Good afternoon, Madam Secretary and the Deped family. I have noticed I have been monitoring the proceedings since 8:30 this morning. I have missed a few, but I just noticed that there is so much emphasis on the public schools and the development of whatever is needed for the public schools. And I also listened to what the good secretary mentioned this morning about the 48% enrollment of the private schools and some schools closing, and the private teachers also moving to the public schools, and some losing their jobs because a lot of the private schools have closed. So that is really a very big problem as far as Deped is concerned, because so many don't have jobs right now. Now my question is, with this in mind, how are we going to support the private school teachers now who don't have jobs, or even so the private schools who are now operating and are at the brink of maybe not being able to survive? And also, may I also know, what are you doing about, because the private schools, as far as I know, also purchased learning management systems on their own, because some of them started way back in June, July, and of course they wanted to go with whatever the Deped said last August 25, but because they announced already, they had to move with their plans, and they purchased their LMS, the learning management systems. So they are really spending. How do we plan to support the private schools? It's all about the public schools, but we have private schools also.
Thank you,
So,
thank you.
may I ask?
Yes, Yusek Mateo, please respond.
Madam Chair,
So
Madam
Secretary,
Chair.
okay, sorry. Secretary Liling, go ahead.
before Yusek Jess answers, I'd just like to give additional information. Even before June, we were already aware of what was going on. Because when I came in 2016, the phenomenon was already going on. The migration of teachers, private school teachers, to the public sector. No, and then with the pandemic, we have the private school students migrating now to the private sector, 398,000. So we discussed this in the IATF, and I brought to the attention of the IATF the situation of private school teachers who have no work, no pay, since walang school. So therefore, they had no pay. Unlike those in the public sector, and there are 900,000 of them, they continue receiving their salaries and their benefits. Pero sa private sector, hindi ganon. And there would be about, sa bilang namin originally, there would be about 263,000. And I reported this to the IATF because at that time, the IATF was we had this program of the Bayanihan where financial assistance is given to those who have lost their jobs. And in a sense, the private school teachers lost their jobs kasi no work, no pay sila. But there are also private school teachers who have permanent contracts, 12 months, so no problem sila. And the big private schools are able to afford this. So yung mga may contract ng 1 year, walang problem because they continue receiving their salaries. So I brought this matter to the attention of the IATF, and the response, and this is on record because I have a witness, which is who is Yusek Tony. Ang sagot ng NEDA and the finance at that time was to submit a complete list of all the teachers who are going to be affected, who are affected by this pandemic. So they have a clear idea kung how much will be the funding that is needed, and that is how the actions proceeded. But we in the Department of Education have always sympathized right from the beginning of my term with the travails that the private sector's teachers are undergoing. Kaya I have been accused pa nga of favoring the private sector teachers. But yun ang situation. And we all know also that right now in Congress, you have congressmen who are filing bills for assistance to private school teachers who have lost their jobs. Kasi how many months na ngayon? 4 months na wala silang trabaho. Wala silang sweldo, wala silang trabaho, while their counterparts in the public sector continue receiving their compensation. So, we are very much aware of that, and we are also aware that there are efforts on the part of Congress to give amelioration to these teachers. Ang bilang ang kwan dyan, ang challenge, kasi ang hinihingi, the actual list of teachers who are affected by this situation, as distinguished from those who have full year contracts and those who are paid only when there are classes. So yun ang situation, and we are very grateful that some members of Congress are thinking along those lines na mayroong compensation ang private school teachers. Pero we have to be, ang request lang kasi ng government side, the Department of Finance and NEDA, is we have to know who they are. Kasi we cannot just say, well, we have 300,000 teachers and they're not receiving any salaries. Gusto nila malaman kung sino, based on previous experience in Bayanihan 1, who are really those who are deserving, who need the assistance. Because not all teachers are not paid at all or have lost their jobs. Yun na ang sabi ko, kasi may mga naman na 12 months ang contract nila. Now, as for the schools, that is a matter of very strong debate in the financial system of the government, because it's not only the private school teachers who are saying that they are in very difficult straits, but also the schools themselves, the private schools themselves. They have their own estimates of how much already they are losing. And for those who are opening, kaya kami, when they said they would open in June, even as ang original schedule namin of August 24, we did not stop them at all. Kasi ang tanong lang namin, kaya ba ninyo ang online? Because the president is insisting on online. Sabi nila, kaya nilang online. Kasi ang condition lang namin, you open in June, pero online. So now you have all these complications and challenges with the online, kasi ang actual of course the application is different. The actual experience is different. So that is how it is now. There are legislators who are filing bills to help the private school teachers. There are also those who are wanting to help the private schools themselves. Kasi magkaiba ito, the private schools who are losing and the private school teachers who are not getting paid. So dalawang sets ito. Sa akin, ang aking responsibility is the private school teachers, which I brought to the attention already. And they're asking me for a listing, the name, the account numbers, etc., because of course we all know that we have had experiences also sa Bayanihan 1 yun. And if some members of the legislature, Congress and the Senate will succeed in their efforts to increase to have the private school teachers, then that will really be a wonderful thing. Either that or we absorb them, because we also need teachers. Dole, for example, needs contact tracers. No, sabi nga nila, they also need contact tracers and all the other opportunities for them to earn a livelihood. Pero yun. And Tony knows that, because we have been working together on this matter. Sana yung mga initiatives ng mga legislators will in a sense succeed for the teachers. But for the schools, That's a matter of economic policy that will be NEDA's call already. Kung yung schools themselves, yun ang bibigyan ng assistance. Ang problem ng mga schools which have indicated that they want to postpone, hindi naman sila nagsabi magsasara, they're going to postpone the holding of classes, is because of the requirement of online. Not all elementary schools and even high schools are equipped for the requirements of online teaching in terms of gadgets, in terms of e-libraries, and so on, in terms of trained teachers. So sabi nila, they are not ready, but we are hoping that as the economy improves, the schools will go back to what they have been doing. As a matter of policy, we adhere to the constitutional provision that there has to be complementarity between public and private. Kailangan di mo paghihiwalay. We cannot have an exclusively public school system or an exclusively private school system. Kailangan complementary sila because both these sectors have contributions, and many of us are products of both private schools and public schools, starting with the Secretary of Education. So, and it's beneficial. So, yun ang status, and we are hoping that with the new round of assistance, hindi makalimutan yung private school teachers. But bear in mind, there are about 163,000 of them.
Salamat.
And you give 10,000, that's 1.6 billion for them, or 10,000 ba or what. So that's how it is. But legislators, kasi ngayon ang budget is at the level of the legislature, may mga legislators who have taken an interest in the issue more for the private school teachers. I don't know about the private schools themselves. Kasi ano yan, that's the NEDA concern, or Secretary of Finance concern. I hope I have answered Your Honor Joy.
Madam Chair, Madam Chair and Secretary, my idol, Secretary Briones. I would also like to thank you for answering my question. Although, of course, I would really like to push for benefits more for the private teachers, the sector of the private teachers, because I have pushed so much for the benefits also for the public teachers, public school teachers. And now I would like to push for the private school teachers' benefits. And I think it's about time. I listened a while ago to all the other things that are being talked about additional benefits for the public school teachers. I would like to request that those additional benefits also be given to the private school teachers. Please, Secretary and Chairman, Madam Chair, to the private school teachers. And last but not the least, Secretary and Madam Chair, I heard that vehicles are being given to the divisions. I also have a division.
Yes, rest assured, Rep. Joy, that was on record that you will also get your fair share.
Yes,
so,
Madam Chair.
Rep. Joy,
who is
we are running out of time
for that?
Yes, automatic yan. It's like an automatic appropriation. Magkaroon kayo ng Yusek Alain, but Yusek Alain is nodding his head na automatic daw matatanggap nyo yan.
Yusek Alain, we will get in touch with you.
Yes, thank you so much, Rep. Joy. Sorry I have to interrupt.
Madam Chair. Thank you, Secretary Briones.
Yes, we still
Madam Chair, may I be recognized, Madam Chair?
Sorry, Cong nagpa-register ba kayo? Kasi
yes, I've been
towards the last two
I
interpolators now.
Madam Chair, I did, yes.
Saan kayo tumawag po?
I even texted you.
I did not receive your text po.
Well, sandali lang naman yung tanong ko, Madam Chair.
Because I was waiting for your text reply. But sorry, I did not receive your text. But anyway, I'll put you there. If you briefly lang later, yeah. Let me call in Representative Ferdinand Gaite. Are you still on?
Yes, Madam
Yes,
Chair, nandito po ako.
Paki-ano na rin kasi we're running out of time. The next DFA is waiting. So go ahead. With your question
Ito
po.
po yung patungkol sa isang ahensya sa ilalim ng Deped, sa ilalim ng NCCA, ang National Museum of the Philippines. Matanong ko lang, Madam Chair, gano'ng katagal na po ba yung mga pinuno dyan, yung head ng agency, yung mga director 4 at iba pa? Baka pwede pong malaman gano'ng katagal na po sila naninilbihan sa NMP, Madam Chair.
National Museum, Jeremy Barnes, Director. Yes, can you please go direct to the point since we're running out of time?
To answer the good congressman, Madam Chair, it's been my honor to serve in my position as head of agency since April 2010.
Director, can you please speak louder?
April 2010 po ako.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. Gusto ko lang inform ang ating kagalang-galang makintawa ng NMP na nakarating sa amin na reklamo ng file ng House Resolution number 1112 regarding concerns of harassment. We'd like to request the NMP management to submit the records of, I believe, the president of the union, Metro Nakalaan, has been removed, supposedly for his performance, which is quite questionable considering matagal na siya dyan at ang kanyang allegation is bilang retaliation doon sa finale ng kaso sa inyo sa Office of the Ombudsman. Pwede mo bang ibigay niyo na lang sa amin ang mga dokumento, hindi mga binanggit na mga reklamo, pinahid sa inyo, ano yung mga hakbang na ginawa nyo, at ano to po yung status ng
Sorry, naputol.
Yes, Madam Chairman, I think the congressman, kahit naputol ho siya, was quite clear. We'll be, of course, happy to furnish everything to do with this particular case.
Yes, go
Maraming
ahead.
salamat po, Madam Chair. Ito po.
Tapos na kayo? Kong
Po, Madam
Gaite?
Chair, may
Tapos na ko.
Congressman, Madam
Okay,
Chair.
sorry, I
kailan
cannot
po as
hear you.
promised, Madam Chair.
Yes, thank you very much. No? So next we go to Representative Tyron Agabas from the majority. And then last, si Maitet. No? Kasi nag-request din si Kong Maitet. So yun na. Si Maitet na yung last. Okay, what can we call in Representative Tyron Agabas for your 3-minute question?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. Thank you so much. To the Honorable Secretary, Madam Secretary Briones, to the all secretaries, to the Assistant Secretaries, and to the Deped family, good afternoon. I just would like to thank the Honorable Secretary for ably leading the Deped family in the midst of the many challenges posted by COVID-19. And on the same note, I would also like to thank the Secretary for allowing the school buildings as quarantine facilities in my district. So, my question, I would like to direct this to you, Jess Mateo. You suggest?
Go ahead. You suggest?
Pwede ko bang malaman yung suggest kung meron na tayong procurement sa ICT and multimedia packages sa senior high, junior high, G4 tsaka G6?
Your Honor, may I defer it to Yusek Aleng because he's the one in charge of ICT. If I may.
Madam Chair, Your Honor, thank you. Thank you, Yusek Jess. Madam Chair, Your Honor, wala pa po, ongoing pa po yung procurement natin for that.
Okay, so ano po ang possible timeline natin, Yusek?
Ang timeline po natin dyan is within the year. We have to finish the procurement within the next 2 months siguro po.
In addition, pwede rin po malaman kung at mag-appeal sa mga shortages natin sa mga schools, especially in my district. I have 181 shortage ng mga teachers sa atin na pwede mag-apela for the provision of these shortages, especially sa mga last mile school kung saan meron tayong mga integrated schools na tinayo sa taong ito.
Wala namang problema, Madam Chair, Your Honor. As long as our budget for the new construction and last mile schools are appropriated by Congress and approved by the President. Thank you.
Having said that, Madam Chair, I would like to manifest my support to any move at the proper opportunity, increasing the budget of the Deped. Alam po natin, let's face it, napakahirap po ng situation na kung saan ang Deped ay napapagit na sa panahon ito, especially sa blended learning system na kinakaharap ng Deped family. So with that, thank you so much, Madam Chair. Hindi ko na po pahabayan ng tanong, kasi alam mo pong kaninang umaga po tayo dito sa hearing na ito. Thank you so much.
Salamat, Rep. Agabas. And the last interpolator from the majority, may I call in Representative Maytet Colliantes.
Ang sinasabi nila.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon sa Deped family, sa pangunguna po ni Secretary Briones, sa mga USEC po at ASEC. Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Ako po yung merong isang concern tungkol po sa aking distrito. Siguro po naman ay hindi lingid sa inyong kaalaman na yung pong pagputok ng bulkan noong Enero ay grabe po ang naging distraction dito sa aking distrito. Ang distrito ko po ay composed ng 10 munisipyo at 2 lungsod. At meron po akong 260 barangays. Ako lamang po ay medyo nababakala sa nakita ko po na isinabmit sa akin ng region, na ang napapabigay lang po sa aking distrito ay isang bayan lang po ang nabigyan ng 2 unit na 1-story 5 classroom. At dito po sa lungsod ng Tanawan ay 10 barangay na lahat po ang 10 barangay na yan ay puro electrification at energization lamang po yan. At 3 lamang pong barangay ang merong repair of classroom. Ang 11 pong, ang isa pong lungsod pa rin, ang Santo Tomas, ay wala po kahit anong maibigay at siyam na bayan po dito sa aking distrito ay wala rin pong naibigay kahit isa man lamang classroom. So, ang devastation po dito sa aking distrito ng Bulkang Taal ay napakagrabe po. Marami hong paaralan tayong nasira at hanggang ngayon po ay nakatenga yan. So, wala po tayong mailalagay diyan na improvement ngayon pong darating na taon. So, I'm just concerned na pagdating po ng pasukan, mabuti na lamang po at tayo po ngayon ay virtual learning, kaya ito pong mga paaralang ito ay hindi rin magagamit. So, ako po kanina ay nasa isang bayan, sa bayan po ng San Nicolas, at nakita ko rin po ang mga paaralan doon na talaga naman pong hanggang ngayon ay sira-sira pa. So ako po ay humihingi ng tulong at nag-aapila po ako sa Department of Education na madagdagan po naman ang mga gusali, ang mga classroom para po dito sa aming mga paaralan sa aming distrito. Again po, I would like to reiterate that I have 10 municipalities and 2 cities. And 6 municipalities were badly hit during the eruption. So yun lamang po, Madam Chair, at sana po ay mapakinggan ni Madam Secretary Briones ang aming hinaing. At bago ko po tapusin, ay sana po ay itong amin pong distrito ay mabigyan din po ng high A's para po sa aming mga guro dito sa aming pong division. Yun lamang po at ako po ay naniniwala na ang inyo pong magandang kalooban ay magbibigay po ng magandang resulta para po sa mas magandang mga paaralan para po dito sa aming distrito. Yun lamang po, Madam Chair, at magandang hapon po.
Thank you very much, Cong Colyantes. I'm sure the Secretary is listening attentively to all your requests. And in the proper time, of course, the Committee on Appropriation will take into consideration all the requests of our legislators.
Madam Chair, may I, considering that we have already exhausted, and I can see here the hardworking chairman of the committee, we will still have to go to another department, and the other concerns will be, we will just forward it to the Department of Education before the plenary hearing. I move, Madam Chair, to terminate the budget briefing for the Department of Education.
Yes, but before we carry the motion, may we inform all members that there will be a new Zoom account for DICT that is being posted right now in our Viber group. No, you just look it up at the Committee on Appropriation Viber group. And with that, I would also like to thank the Deped family, especially Secretary Briones, for being very patient with us. And rest assured, we are here to support the budget of the Department of Education for the fiscal year 2021. The budget for the Department of Education is hereby terminated, and the Committee on Appropriation is suspended.
Thank you.